Discover the incredible moment a shy intern transformed a deaf visitor's day unseen by the CEO. Amidst the stunning artwork that lined the walls of the downtown Chicago gallery, Jamie felt small. At 23, she was a timid intern lost in a world where seasoned professionals flowed like a river, confidently discussing brush strokes and color palettes. Raised in a hardworking family, she had learned the value of sweat and perseverance, but those lessons felt heavy on her shoulders in contrast to the hustle and bustle around her. But today, something stirred within her chest, a light of compassion, ignited by an unexpected presence. Amar Thompson entered the gallery quietly, his ill-fitted suit and weathered face standing in stark contrast to the vibrant crowd buzzing with laughter and chatter. He was a ghost among the living, his hands clenched at his side, his eyes scanning the room, yearning for connection. Jamie noticed the loneliness etched into his expression and felt a wave of kinship wash over her. Memories of her late grandfather's stories of resilience floated to the surface, of overcoming struggles, of reaching out rather than retreating. Gathering her courage, remembering those tales of hope and strength, Jamie approached Mr. Thompson with a heart pounding defiantly in her chest. She could only recall a handful of sign language gestures from her freshman college class, but they felt like a lifeline. Doodling on a napkin, she gestured simply, pointing to the artworks that hung majestically on the walls. The spark ignited. Mr. Thompson's eyes twinkled with curiosity, his smile slowly blooming. They exchanged gestures, and a joyful conversation unfolded that resonated in silence. They shared smiles that spoke volumes, a bridge forged between two souls. Jamie learned about Mr. Thompson's passion for community art, a once vibrant past where dreams thrived until the economy shifted, leaving him feeling invisible. But the mood shifted when the gallery's CEO strutted in, his air of authority casting a long shadow. "That man isn't a valuable visitor," he sneered, dismissing Jamie's kind-hearted efforts. It felt like a dagger to the heart. Jamie's chest tightened as she looked between Mr. Thompson and the CEO, flames of indignation igniting within her. She fought against the wave of shame, pushed her stubbornness to the forefront. This was a pivotal moment for her, a test of loyalty against her ethical compass. Was she willing to sacrifice her internship for the values her grandfather instilled in her? Just then, an unexpected pause enveloped the room, silence stretching like a rubber band taut with the weight of anticipation. Before she could muster her voice, a sudden announcement cut through the tension, rattling her resolve. The CEO revealed his plans for a new exhibit, one meant to spotlight valuable artists, leaving a sudden icy chill hanging in the gallery. But it was too late. The seed of courage had been sown within Jamie, and her heart raced with a newfound sense of purpose. Would she rise to the occasion or retreat back into the shadows? The decision loomed large, heavy with implications for not only her future, but for the fundamental values of compassion and community she held dear. Jamie's gaze flickered between Mr. Thompson's eager face and the CEO's haughty demeanor. The fluttering in her stomach turned into a storm, as if a million decisions crashed against the walls of her mind. This was no longer about a fleeting conversation. It was about standing for something bigger. Mr. Thompson caught her eye, his expression a mix of hope and apprehension. It was as if he could sense the turmoil churning within her. She had initiated their connection, but now she was faced with the very real possibility of losing it, of losing him to the coldness of corporate indifference. "Jamie!" The CEO's voice boomed through the spacious gallery, slicing through her thoughts. "You're wasting your time. Let us focus on what matters, the future of this gallery." She felt her heart sink as the older man waved dismissively toward Mr. Thompson. In that moment, she saw not just an incompetent figure in a poorly fitted suit, but a man whose dreams had been dismissed as unworthy, whose voice was almost silenced by ridicule. That realization struck her like a lightning bolt. Before she could second-guess herself, she stepped forward, her voice shaky yet determined. "Actually, I think he matters," Jamie declared, her words spilling over with urgency. "Art isn't just about what's valuable in a monetary sense. It's about expression, stories, and community." The room fell silent, all eyes turning to her. Jamie felt the weight of every gaze on her, but she stood her ground, refusing to retreat. The boldness of her own stance surprised her. She could feel Mr. Thompson's eyes on her, filled with gratitude and surprise. Who are you to judge the worth of someone's passion? She pressed on, looking directly at the CEO. Mr. Thompson has spent years fostering artistic expression in his community. He knows what art means to people. Isn't that what we should be celebrating? A murmur rippled through the crowd, expressions shifting from surprise to curiosity, and some even to support. In that moment, Jamie could feel something she had never experienced before: empowerment. She had connected with something bigger than herself, something that stirred the hearts of those listening. But the CEO wasn't ready to let it go. His expression hardened, and behind the facade of professionalism, anger flickered in his eyes. You're jeopardizing your internship with such foolishness. Choose wisely, he warned, his voice low and menacing. For a brief moment, she felt the weight of her job, the threat hanging over her head. But as she glanced over at Mr. Thompson, his face illuminated with unexpected pride, she drew strength from his presence. I want to apologize for standing up for what I believe in, she replied, her voice gaining volume. And if that means my job, then so be it. We need to contribute to art in every form, not just the profitable ones. The room held its breath, a collective pause as realization sank in. Could it be that Jamie was about to redefine not just her journey, but the very direction of the gallery? A small crowd began to gather around them, murmurs of agreement growing louder, like a wave breaking against the shore, with newfound conviction. Jamie turned back to Mr. Thompson, her eyes bright with hope. Let us keep talking, she signed, and he nodded, the smile on his face radiating a warmth that melted the tension in the room. But just as the atmosphere began to shift, a tall figure pushed through the crowd, a stranger with an air of authority. Eyes widened, Jamie's heart raced. Who was this person, and what did they want? What was unfolding in that moment would change the course of everything, both for her and for Mr. Thompson. Would they find an ally or another obstacle? The answer hung in the air, thick with tension as they prepared to face whatever was coming next. Jamie's heart pounded as the figure approached. The stranger wore a crisp navy suit and carried himself with the kind of confidence that demanded attention. A name tag read Angela Hartman, gallery consultant. The title didn't tell the whole story, though. The glint in her eye suggested a keen sense of the art world and an understanding of the people that filled it. What's going on here? Angela asked, glancing between Jamie, the CEO, and Mr. Thompson. Her voice cut through the tension like a knife. The gallery felt like a coiled spring, charged with energy waiting to be unleashed. Just a bit of a discussion about values in art, Jamie replied, keeping her tone steady despite the dread creeping back into her mind. I believe we should prioritize passion alongside profit. Angela smiled, the corners of her lips curving upwards as if she appreciated Jamie's spirit. I couldn't agree more. She turned toward the CEO, addressing him directly. Art thrives in a supportive community, not just in the boardroom. The CEO's scowl deepened, caught off guard by Angela's unexpected support. This is not the time for philosophical debates. We have stakeholders to consider. His dismissal dripped with disdain, but Jamie noted how his voice wavered slightly. Maybe he wasn't as unshakable as he liked to project. Stakeholders? Angela echoed, or dreams? It's easy to forget the soul of what we do when caught in the financial grind. Her eyes were bright, full of purpose. How about we take a look at the true impact of this gallery? Real stories, real people. The crowd, now more than just passive observers, began to resonate with her words. Jamie felt a surge of hope, buoyed by this unexpected ally. Yes, we need to listen to voices we usually ignore, Jamie said, her enthusiasm palpable. Mr. Thompson's work matters. Connects us. Angela nodded, appreciating Jamie's passion. Exactly. Let us hold something: community workshops, exhibitions. Let us invite everyone, not just the ones with deep pockets. Her eyes glittered as she gestured animatedly, inspiring those around her. What if we have a special event dedicated to emerging artists with unconventional stories? People need to feel included, and that can start here. Jamie watched as more heads nodded in agreement, the murmur of support growing louder. It was a wave of collective energy colliding with the simmering tension in the room. Mr. Thompson looked at Jamie, a mixture of disbelief and joy lighting up his features. But the CEO interjected, frustration clear in his voice. This is an art gallery, not a charity case. We can't dilute our brand with sentimentality. He stood firm, his arms crossed over his chest like a barrier. Jamie's stomach twisted, he was losing ground. Angela glanced back at Jamie with a flicker of encouragement. You're right to stand up for Mr. Thompson, she said quietly. What did you say about community? Then let us be that community. Let us start right now. Kevin, get me a list of everyone from the last 5 exhibitions. As she spoke, Jamie felt the heat of determination course through her. This could be a turning point. She could step into her power, together with Mr. Thompson and Angela, against the odds. But then a small voice within her whispered doubts. Would this be enough to make a real, lasting change? Are you just going to sit there and watch? Angela spoke again, addressing the CEO directly, her gaze unwavering. The tension in the room thickened. Jamie held her breath, every heartbeat echoing the uncertainty of what would happen next. Would the CEO retaliate? Or could they turn this fleeting moment into something truly transformative? As the room hung in the balance, eyes anxiously awaiting the CEO's response, Jamie realized she was more than just an intern now. She was an advocate, a voice for those who often went unheard. And then, just as silence threatened to pull everyone under, the doors swung open, revealing a couple of artists entering the gallery, their faces alive with anticipation. Would they tip the scales of this moment? The answer loomed just out of reach, like paint waiting for the brush. Would it be color or chaos that would define what came next? The unexpected arrival of the artists shattered the tense atmosphere, their vibrant energy filling the gallery like light breaking through clouds. Jamie felt her heart leap as she caught sight of their eager faces, hope radiating from them. One artist, a woman with a wild mane of curly hair, held a canvas that showcased a riot of colors, bursting with emotion. The other, a tall man wearing glasses, carried a heavy sketchbook under his arm. They looked around, excitement coursing through them, and Jamie realized how much they needed this moment. Angela was quick to recognize the newcomers, her expression shifting to one of interest. There they are, the voices of tomorrow, just waiting to be heard. She motioned for the 2 artists to come closer, her inviting tone warming the gallery. Before any words could be exchanged, the CO's irritation became palpable. This is exactly what I was concerned about, he spat, sweeping his gaze over the artists with palpable disdain. What's the plan? A talent show? Jamie's gut tightened. It felt as if he was raining on a parade that had just begun. But then, Angela spoke again, her voice cutting through his negativity. No, it's about connection, she said firmly. Art isn't just a product. It's a conversation. It's not about profit margins. It's about inspiration. As Angela's words resonated, Jamie stepped forward, emboldened. We can invite them to share their work, their stories. Let them show us what drives them to create. The crowd began to stir, excitement filling the air like a melody waiting to be played. The tall artist stepped forward, a spark of determination in his eyes. We just want to be involved, to connect with a community that might appreciate what we have to say. His voice was steady, unwavering despite the intimidating environment. Exactly, Jamie exclaimed. This is more than just profit. This is about art connecting people. She turned to the gathered crowd, gauging their reactions. Heads nodded and voices murmured, a swell of agreement rising like a tide. Mr. Thompson, seemingly inspired by the energy shifting in the room, chimed in. I've always believed that art exists to touch lives. The shy, seasoned artist stood a little taller as he spoke. We need a gallery that reflects the true spirit of creativity, a gallery that invites everyone to be part of it. With each passing moment, the atmosphere in the gallery transformed. It went from anxiety and contention to something resembling hope. The CEO's expression shifted slightly, doubt creeping into his stern facade, as he realized the ground was shifting beneath him. Perhaps he could feel the collective energy morphing into something vibrant and alive. Angela seized the moment, leaning into the momentum. Let us not just plan an exhibition. Let us think bigger. Let's organize a festival that celebrates artists from all backgrounds. We can make this a platform for voices that deserve to be heard. The idea generated a palpable buzz among the artists and onlookers. Jamie's heart raced at the thought. Could this be the moment that truly changed everything? But before the excitement could take root, the CEO folded his arms firmly again, expression hardening. And what do you expect to achieve that isn't already done in every art fair? You're all dreaming. Jamie felt the breath leave her lungs, that old voice of self-doubt creeping back in. What if the CEO was right? Could they really pull off something this ambitious? But then she looked at the artists, at their passion, at their drive. Amidst the chaos of colors and emotions, she recognized something powerful. We'll show them what's possible, she whispered to herself as Angela smiled at her. Recognizing the fire in Jamie's eyes, suddenly uncertainty morphed into determination. They were standing at the edge of something dazzling. Would they leap? But the question lingered, unresolved. What would it take to turn this spark into a roaring flame? All Jamie could do was take the first step. The energy in the gallery swirled around Jamie, electric and alive. She could feel the pulse of possibility, yet doubt still whispered at the back of her mind. Was it really enough? Just as she wrestled with her thoughts, the curly-haired artist stepped forward, breaking through the haze of tension. My name's Lila, she announced, her voice bright and unyielding. I want to share my art, not just create it. Art is meant to reflect our lives, our struggles, our joys. She took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly as she lifted her canvas to chest level. The colors seemed to dance under the gallery lights. This piece is about resilience. It's about believing in something beyond ourselves. The room grew quiet, shifted by the weight of her words. Jamie looked around, faces softened, curiosity blooming. The artist seemed to be weaving a new narrative that began to include everyone present. The tall artist, now stepping closer to Lila, added, and I'm Evan. This sketchbook holds stories I've collected, snippets from the people I've met. Each page is a testament to the power of connection. He flipped it open, revealing a sketch of a mother cradling her child, vivid and authentic. There was a collective intake of breath. Even the COS expression faltered for a moment. Jamie felt a stirring within her. What if we created an interactive space? She suggested, emboldened by the artist's vulnerability. A place where visitors could share their stories too? A wall where they can leave messages or art. A festival where everyone's voice matters. Each word propelled her forward as she envisioned something magical. That's it. Angela chimed in, her smile radiant. Imagine an art walk where community members contribute, not just watch. Every voice matters, and every piece of art tells a story. Suddenly, a hand shot up, a shy woman in the back. Could I share my poetry? She said, her voice trembling but determined. Jamie noticed the way her cheeks flushed with anticipation. I've always wanted to but never felt ready. Absolutely, Jamie replied, heart swelling as she recognized this was the spirit they needed. Everyone should feel welcome to contribute. It's a chance for folks like us to connect, to heal, and to uplift each other. As people began to chime in, ideas flowed like an unbroken melody. A dance workshop, music performances, local chefs sharing their culinary art. Hope wove through the proposals, wrapping around each heart and expanding the dream into something so much larger than they had envisioned. But then, the CEO spoke, his voice slicing through the enthusiasm. This all sounds lovely, but how do you plan to fund it? Art doesn't pay the bills, he stated, skepticism hanging like a heavy shroud. Jamie's heart raced. Could they raise the funds? Anxiety threatened to drown her excitement. Yet, as she looked at the artists, their passion sparking a fire within her, something clicked into place. We'll do it together, Jamie said, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. We'll engage our community, start a crowdfunding campaign, and reach out for sponsorships. Determination washed over her. People want to be part of something that matters. We just need to show them it's possible. A flicker of hope spread throughout the room. It was a spark, the very ember they needed to ignite their plans into a raging fire. As the atmosphere thickened with excitement and anticipation, Jamie could hear the whispers of support. Yet, underneath it all, a deeper question lingered in the air. But will anyone actually show up? She thought, uncertainty creeping back in. As the initial murmurs of agreement grew into genuine enthusiasm, Jamie couldn't shake the feeling that despite the odds, they were standing at the dawn of something extraordinary. What would happen next? Could they really bring this vision to life, and what obstacles would they face along the way? The next day brought a chill across the city, the kind that made breath puff into clouds of vapor. Excitement buzzed like electricity in Jamie's veins as she walked to the gallery. It was a fresh start, a chance to nurture the seeds they had planted. She glanced at her watch, anxiety creeping back in. Today was crucial. They would meet to finalize their plans, but Jamie wondered if the enthusiasm could transform into action. As she entered the gallery, the familiar warmth greeted her. Light filtered through the tall windows, illuminating the varied artworks that represented their collective hopes. The atmosphere buzzed, filled with murmurs and laughter, creativity in bloom. Lila was at the front, chatting energetically with a few other artists. Jamie felt a spark of joy as she approached them. "Hey, are we ready to actually make this happen?" she asked, her uncertainty masked by an eager smile. "Absolutely. We've got a team lined up for the crowdfunding campaign," Lila replied, her eyes shining with determination. "And people are excited to contribute. Everyone wants to be part of this." As they discussed logistics, Angela handled outreach, promising connections with local businesses. Evan passed around a printed flyer featuring an inviting design of the festival, their collaborative dream taking shape. Each word etched into the flyer felt like a heartbeat, pulsing with possibility. But just as they began to gain momentum, Jamie noticed a woman lingering near the back of the gallery. She was tall, her clothes modest and unassuming, and she seemed hesitant, unsure of how to enter this world bursting with energy. A name tag slipped from the woman's pocket, revealing her name, Clara. "Hey, Clara," Jamie called, attempting to draw her into the fold. She felt a surge of empathy as the woman looked startled, her face a mask of worry. "We're just talking about the festival. We'd love for you to join in." I'm not really an artist or anything," Clara stammered, then shrugged as if apologizing for existing. "Art isn't just about paint and canvas," Jamie reassured her. "It's about sharing ideas, experiences. Your voice matters here." In that moment, the gallery door opened and a cheerful man, Isaac, entered with a wide grin, his cane tapping rhythmically in front of him. Jamie recognized him, the deaf visitor from yesterday's gathering, and felt a rush, remembering how moved he had been by Lila's words. As Isaac approached, he waved enthusiastically. Clara shifted nervously, but Jamie nudged her slightly, encouraging her. "Let us get him talking. It might help us brainstorm." Isaac's eyes brightened as he caught sight of Jamie and Lila. They exchanged smiles, but Jamie noticed Clara watching him with a keen interest. "Hey, Isaac," Lila greeted him, signing as she spoke. "We're finalizing plans for the festival. How can we make it accessible? What ideas do you have?" Isaac's expression turned thoughtful as he signed back, a light of passion igniting in his movements. Clara seemed captivated, taking small steps closer. "This is so cool," she murmured, the hesitance dissolving slightly. "What do you like about gatherings?" Jamie pressed, eager to include her in their conversation. Clara shrugged uncertainly. "I used to write poetry, but I doubt anyone would want to hear me." But before Jamie could respond, Isaac's eyes locked on Clara's and he leaned in closer, signing enthusiastically. Clara's cheeks flushed, her disbelief melting under his warm gaze. It was as if she discovered a flicker of hope reflected in his excitement. "You should share," Isaac signed, his expression urging her on, and Jamie could sense the shift in Clara. Healing began to glow within the gallery walls. Jamie's heart raced. The festival began to feel bigger than a series of events. It was a chance for everyone to contribute, to connect. She imagined Clara stepping on stage with her heart open, words flowing free. But the looming question remained, could Clara truly overcome her fears? Could they reach people like Isaac and Clara, and how many voices would they uplift along the way? In that moment, Jamie felt the weight of uncertainty ease. Perhaps today might hold its own unexpected transformations. As the vision of their gathering solidified in her mind, Jamie couldn't help but smile. What other surprises lay ahead? How might they inspire one another and break through the walls that seemed impenetrable? A soft murmur of anticipation floated through the gallery as Jamie glanced at her friends, then back at Clara. She sensed the air thickening with possibilities, and it was so intoxicating. Every corner of the room buzzed with creativity, urging everyone to find their voice, including Clara. "Would you want to try reading something?" Jamie asked Clara gently, her encouragement sincere. Clara's eyes widened, and Jamie noticed a flicker of fear. "I don't know," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if I mess up?" Lila intervened, her expression gentle but firm. "Clara, everyone here is rooting for you. Even if you stumble, that's part of sharing your story. It doesn't have to be perfect." Jamie felt a swell of hope. They had created a space where honesty was cherished. Artists weren't just painting on canvas. They were weaving together experiences like threads of a tapestry. Isaac watched Clara intently, his hands flying through animated signs, as if he were painting a picture of encouragement. Each gesture pulsed with warmth. Clara's shoulders seemed to relax slightly, taking in the love that radiated from Isaac's sincerity. "Okay, I will give it a try," Clara finally said, her voice tinged with both resolve and trepidation. She glanced at the group, a hesitant smile forming on her face, as if daring herself to step into the light. Just then, a loud commotion erupted from the entrance. A group of art students burst in, excitedly chatting about their recent projects. Jamie felt her heart race. The gallery's atmosphere thickened with life. This was what they had envisioned, a gathering of varied voices, ideas, and dreams. "Look, we just launched the flyer," one of the students exclaimed, waving the vibrant paper. The others buzzed, sharing feedback and excitement, blending seamlessly into the gallery's existing energy. Jamie and Lila exchanged glances. This was the kind of momentum they needed. Clara stood on the periphery, watching, her expression revealing a mix of inspiration and hesitation. "Let us invite everyone to share something they love about art," Lila suggested, her enthusiasm infectious. "It'll get the conversation flowing." The group nodded, immediately warming to the idea. One artist began sharing a funny anecdote about their work getting covered in paint during a live performance. Laughter rippled through the gallery, and Clara's smile widened, her nerves seemingly easing with each chuckle. "Clara, do you want to jump in?" Jamie asked, sensing the moment was shifting. "I don't know if I can trust us." "You can," Jamie reassured her. "We're all here for you, and I think everybody would love to hear what you think." Clara's eyes flicked back to Isaac, who nodded encouragingly. The warmth in the room wrapped around her like a cozy blanket, and she took a deep breath. Slowly, she stepped forward, finding a small clearing among the crowd. As she began to speak, anxious words spilled out, but something changed. Each syllable grew stronger as she spoke of her poetry, the feelings of isolation, of belonging, and the simple joy of creating. The crowd listened intently, some leaning in closer, captivated. For Jamie, it felt surreal, a moment fat with significance. She could see Clara transforming, taking power in her voice, as if each word was a step she was reclaiming. Isaac's pride was palpable, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. The gallery was now a living thing, pulsing with shared emotions that transcended barriers. When Clara finished, a warm silence engulfed the room before applause erupted. Jamie beamed, tears stinging her eyes with joy. Clara's transformation was breathtaking. She had found her rhythm among eager hearts. But as the joy swirled around, another thought began to flicker in Jamie's mind. What if Clara had only opened the gate just a little? What other voices were waiting to be heard? With a pounding heart, Jamie realized that this was just the beginning. They had sparked something alive, but could they keep it going? How many more stories lay hidden, waiting to break free? The thought electrified her, sending shivers of anticipation down her spine. The festival was still ahead. They hadn't just built a bridge, they laid the foundations for an entire community. As the applause subsided, Jamie scanned the crowd, searching for the next spark. What else can we do? She whispered to herself, captivated by the possibilities. As the energy of the gallery pulsed around her, Jamie felt a pressing urgency. This was more than just a night of sharing art. This was a chance to build something real, something that could last beyond a single event. She stepped back, seeking a moment of clarity amidst the joyful chaos, her pulse quickening as she thought of everyone yet to speak, a dozen stories waiting to unfold just like Clara across the room. She spotted Lila engaged in conversation with a few newcomers. They were animated and vibrant, their words blending like colors on a palette. Jamie couldn't help but wonder how many voices they would awaken that night. She approached them, catching bits of their laughter as they recounted their latest projects. Hey, have you all thought about sharing your own experiences? It's a pretty powerful way to connect, Jamie suggested, leaning in with enthusiasm. A tall girl with bright purple hair nodded eagerly. I'd love to, she exclaimed, but I always worry it won't sound right. Who says it has to sound any specific way? Jamie smiled, determined to dispel their doubts. Just share what matters to you. Your voice deserves to be heard. Lila chimed in, just like Clara showed us, it's all about being genuine. Sharing makes us vulnerable, but it also connects us, right? The purple-haired girl grinned, visibly buoyed by their encouragement. Okay, I'll try. She squeezed her friend's hand, grounding herself in the moment. Jamie felt her heart swell. This was the ripple effect she had hoped for, and it was beautiful to witness. Suddenly, the crowd shifted, parting to allow a tall figure to step forward. It was Collins, the gallery's intern, who seemed uncharacteristically hesitant. Though known for her quiet demeanor, there was a light in her eyes, an urge to share something deeply personal. Jamie felt her anticipation rise as the room quieted down. Collins cleared her throat, looking up at the faces eagerly watching her. I've always seen art as a refuge, she started, her voice shaky but earnest. Growing up, I felt out of place. I didn't fit in anywhere until I found art. As she spoke, a deaf visitor approached the gallery, his eyes darting around as he grasped a small notepad, ready to write. Jamie noticed him looking at Collins, who continued. Art was the bridge that helped me connect with the world, and I can't help but hope it does the same for others. At that moment, the deaf visitor caught Collins' gaze, raising his notepad, energy crackling with excitement. He signed, "Thank you for sharing." A smile broke across Collins' face, transforming her nerves into warmth. Jamie realized the beauty of their connection was uniting different forms of expression, words, signs, and emotions swirling together. More murmurs rose, and the energy shifted again. Ideas sparked and ignited. Jamie glanced at Isaac, who stood nearby, his hands moving fluidly as he communicated the visitor's appreciation. The gallery felt electric, bursting with raw emotion and creativity, as Collins finished. The applause came like a wave, crashing over her with thunderous support. She glowed, transformed by the love of a community that now embraced her. See? Just one shared experience can pave the way for many, Jamie thought to herself, her mind racing. But as she watched Collins glow, she also felt a question rise within her. What other connections were just waiting to ignite? How could she help more people discover their voices tonight? With a knowing smile, Jamie turned to the crowd once more. Okay, let us keep this going, she called out, her voice resonating through the space. Who's next? Who else has a story that needs to be told? Hands began to shoot up around the room, and Jamie's heart soared. But deep down, she sensed an undercurrent of urgency. With so many stories waiting, would they exhaust this moment too quickly? As whispers of excitement spread, she marveled at the gallery, a sanctuary of expression. Yet, An unsettling thought flickered in her mind. Could they really create a lasting change, or would this burst of energy fade away like a dream? Upon waking, the room felt suspended in time, vibrant and alive, and Jamie held her breath as the first few voices rose, ready to create a tapestry of shared experiences that could change everything. As the echoes of applause for Collins faded, a momentary hush blanketed the gallery. Jamie's heart raced as she scanned the eager faces around her. A familiar buzz of anticipation crackled in the air, like the lingering notes of a perfectly played chord. A hand shot up from the back of the room. It belonged to a young man with messy curls and expressive eyes. Jamie recognized him as Mark, a budding photographer who had been shy about sharing his work. He looked nervous but determined. Can I share something?" he called out, his voice barely rising above the murmur of the crowd. "You absolutely can," Jamie encouraged, her own excitement bubbling over. "Come on up." As Mark made his way to the front, Jamie felt the energy shift again. The crowd quieted, enveloped in a shared understanding of what it meant to take this leap, to bare one's soul through art. He stood there, trembling slightly, as he fidgeted with his camera strap. "I've got this series of photographs," he began, the words tumbling out like a hesitant stream. They're about how we see ourselves versus how others see us." He paused, glancing down at his feet, as if the floor might provide an escape route. Jamie felt a wave of empathy wash over her. She remembered her own fears before stepping into the spotlight. "You got this, Mark," she encouraged softly. Taking a deep breath, he continued, "I've always felt that people don't see me clearly. In pictures, I can capture what I feel inside. It's like a hidden world, and I want to share it." With a trembling hand, he displayed a series of photos on his phone, projecting them on a small screen they had set up in the gallery. The first image was dark, shadowy, with only the faintest hint of light peeking through. Jamie could feel the weight of his emotions in that single frame. As the images changed, the gallery fell silent. The next photo erupted into color: joy, life, laughter. A mixture of freedom and vulnerability washed over Mark's features as he spoke about each capture. The photos flowed like the emotions he was revealing, each frame a window to his soul, filled with raw beauty. A murmur swept through the crowd. "Wow, incredible!" Jamie glanced around and noticed Collins watching with pride, a knowing smile on her face. Each person was grasping not just the art but the courage behind it. "I think art helps us confront our insecurities," Mark confessed. "I used to hide behind my camera, afraid to let anyone see me. But being here in this moment, it's changing me." A wave of understanding rippled through the audience. Jamie felt a tear form in her eye. This was exactly the kind of connection she had hoped for. The room was wrapped in a spell, with hope twinkling in the eye. As he finished, thunderous applause erupted. Mark beamed, his confidence blooming like a flower under the warm sun. For the first time, he stood tall, shoulders back, embracing the love and acceptance around him. But Jamie could sense it again, the undercurrent of urgency that tugged at her heart. How many more hidden gems were in this crowd, just waiting for someone to tap into their potential? Would this night keep blossoming with stories, or would it close in on itself, the magic fading like a sunset? And just as she pondered that, a voice in the crowd called out, "What's next, Jamie? Can we keep this going?" Her eyes lit up at the spark of ambition in that question. "Absolutely. Let's open the floor even wider. Who else has something to share?" As hands shot up once more, Jamie realized this was only the beginning. There were layers to uncover, stories to weave, a whole tapestry of experience just waiting. But what she didn't expect was for a familiar face to emerge from the shadows, one she thought she'd never see again. And what they would share had the potential to change everything. As the room buzzed with excited voices, Jamie noticed a familiar figure step forward, hesitance trailing behind him like a shadow. It was Caleb, her old friend from college, someone she hadn't seen in years. A mixture of curiosity and surprise filtered through the crowd as he made his way to the front. "Caleb, I can't believe it's you," Jamie called out, her heart jolting with joy. He smiled shyly, running a hand through his hair. revealing a glimmer of the confident artist she once knew. I was just passing by, and then I heard something about stories and community. His voice caught slightly, as if he was still finding his footing. Jamie felt a rush of nostalgia and warmth. Memories of laughter-filled nights discussing their aspirations and dreams flooded her mind. Did you want to share something? Caleb took a deep breath, glancing at the crowd. Yeah. I've been working on a collection. His words stumbled out but then gained strength. A collection about loss and healing. It's kind of personal. The room fell silent, anticipation thickening the air. Tell us, Jamie encouraged, her heart swelling at his vulnerability. He nodded slowly and began. I lost my dad when I was younger. Art became the way I processed that pain. I realized it's not just about me, it's about weaving those experiences into something that connects us all. As he spoke, his hands gestured toward the canvas he had set up behind him. It was a stark painting that captured sorrow-dark tones with bright streaks of light peeking through, almost like a rebirth after despair. This piece is called Finding Home, he explained. It reflects how healing isn't linear. It spirals. You can find light in the darkest places, but you have to let it in. Tears pricked Jamie's eyes as she watched the audience lean closer, enthralled by his honesty. Whispers taking root in the air. She felt a wave of unity. Everyone there somehow related to grief, healing, and finding hope. Caleb's voice steadied. I want everyone to know whatever pain you're carrying, you don't have to do it alone. His message hung in the air, a lifeline offered to those seeking solace. The applause erupted, echoing off the gallery walls, and Jamie joined in, her heart swelling. She noticed Clara, now emboldened, wiping a tear from her eye. The transformation around them was palpable, a renaissance of shared experiences blossoming. Then, the CEO, who had remained inconspicuous, shifted in his spot. Jamie noticed uncertainty flicker across his face, perhaps a reflection of the community spirit and resilience taking root all around. It struck Jamie that maybe there was hope not just for the gallery but for everyone involved. Just as she thought this, another hand shot up, this one belonging to a newfound friend from the art collective, Maya. I want to join in, she exclaimed, her voice ringing with determination. Absolutely, Maya. Come on up, Jamie urged, thrilled at the enthusiasm. Maya joined Caleb, and together they shared their stories, tossing their fears into the warm light of acceptance. More artists stepped forward, adding color and texture, new perspectives and voices mingling into a beautiful chorus. Each story carved out another space for healing, each laugh becoming a brushstroke on the shared canvas of their community. But Jamie felt the flutter of longing beneath her excitement. She knew all these beautiful exchanges needed more than just one night. They needed a framework to flourish. They had ignited a fire, and she was determined to turn the sparks into a blaze with renewed vigor. Jamie turned to Angela and the group. We can keep this going. Let's make weekly art circles, where we can gather, share, and create together. We can form a collective. She felt the surge of a wild dream forming in her chest. Yes. Angela grinned, her eyes bright. Let us open the gallery as a place for ongoing workshops and showcases. Everyone deserves a platform. The crowd erupted into cheers, an electric sense of possibility filling the room. As the applause echoed in the gallery, the moment crystallized in Jamie's mind. This was bigger than one night. They were creating a community, a family where art and expression were boundless. She glanced at Mr. Thompson, who stood at the back, heart wide open. The pride in his smile reflected every sentiment in the room. United by vulnerability and connection, they were crafting a tapestry of hope, woven with the threads of their challenges and triumphs. At that moment, Jamie knew that whatever storms lay ahead, they would face them together. She felt a fierce joy ignite within her, filled with the belief that art could heal, connect, and transcend. This was the launchpad for their journey, a small spark that could become a roaring fire, igniting change within their community. As the applause stormed around her, Jamie stood taller, her heart bursting with gratitude. They were not just finding voices. They were amplifying them, sharing warmth, and crafting a legacy of unity. The gallery was about to become a beacon of change, a safe haven for every color, story, and emotion. And while uncertainty still lingered at the edge, one thing remained clear: their journey had just begun. Now it was time to embrace it, alongside every amazing soul in the room. Together, they would build something unforgettable, and while the energy crackled in celebration, one final thought lined Jamie's heart: this was only the beginning of their extraordinary story. Don't miss out on the incredible transformation and experiences yet to unfold. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you won't miss the next exclusive stories filled with inspiration and hope. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these heartfelt journeys. Comment your feelings about this ending. Let your voice be heard. And for the love of art and community, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to share, don't wait not even one more second. True fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.